Nicolaj Kopernikus is the writer-director of the short film Stenofonen. I'm at Nobler Gold Derby, and I wanted to start off by asking you, Nicolaj, what was the biggest challenge in telling such a personal story on film?
Well, of course, you take a little risk if you want to tell personal stories, because you never know how the outcome will be. But it's worth taking the risk, and I am very happy about the movie, and I'm very happy that I took the risk. And I'm also very happy that I asked my own son to play my father as a 12 years old kid, because it become even more personal.
Yeah. How did he take on channeling your father to, like, as your son? Like, that's sort of so funny. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Was that a question, or?
Yeah. How did he approach tackling your father?
Oh yeah, he worked so professional. He was wonderful working with him. Of course, I have a very nice relationship to him as far as a son, but I also got a very nice working relationship. And he was like all the other actors, and worked with me and talked to me like I was the director, and he was the actor. And he was. I remember one time when we were having a scene at the beach, and I had wrote a very, very long and extremely bad line. And he said to me, "Dad, it's impossible to play this shit. We have to do something." And I said, "Well, can you at least try?" And he tried. And I said, "Well, I understand what you mean. We have to do something." And then we actually took it out of the script, and we did something else. So he was very, very professional in his approach to the job.
Why did you choose to tell this story about your father?
It's a combination, actually. When I for 6 years ago heard about this Stenofonen, I heard that when he was 12 years old, threw out 2,000 stone. He found a C major scale. I thought that was such a unique story, and I wanted to also combine it with his very tough relationship he has to his father, my grandfather. And I thought that these two stories together would be a perfect combination to tell universal stories about how important it is to put some spotlight on each other instead of closing each other down. And that's why I started up telling this story. But first of all, it was because I thought it was such a crazy idea to find a music instrument out of 2,000 stones.
Yes. Did you have you had a go playing the stones?
No, I haven't tried, but I have. There's one stone left, actually, the deepest stone in the C. In the C scale, and then there is the little black one you can hit on. That's the original stone that's we have left. And then the music which come out of the radio in the movie is actually my father playing for real when he was 12 years old. So that's kind of nice that the head of the sound department said, why shouldn't we use that music in the radio?
Yeah. How did you find out that your father had been on the radio playing stones?
He told me exactly the same way that I start the movie. I was, when I visit my father, he always played the violin, and I have to admit that I was kind of bored when I was listening to that violin playing, because he kept stopping. He stopped all the time, and then I asked, what's the story about this stone? And then after a while, he told me this crazy thing, and I found out that he actually had been in the radio, and I thought this is crazy. Everybody has to hear this.
Yeah. What was the trickiest thing for you to sort of approach in this film?
The trickiest thing is, well, in a way, I think the trickiest part of telling stories in a short format is actually that it's kind of, you have to be very precise in the way of telling the story, because you only have, like, for me here, 20 minutes. So that was really, I had to find the precise way of telling the story so the audience can leave the movie, get the impression what I want to tell them.
And do you have a favorite moment or scene in the film?
Yes, my favorite moment is when the father takes the violin, and the son is leaving the room without his violin. I think that's a very touching moment, and it's a turning point in a way that, I mean, you have a very happy kid that wants to go to the camp with the violin and play, and then you're not allowed. That's one of the, I think that's an important point in the movie, and I'm very happy about it. But there is a lot, to be honest. But yeah, for me, it has been such an important thing to do this movie, because I wanted to give my father a tribute of and give him sort of like more than these 15 minutes of fame he got in the radio. But I want to tell a universal story that is about get each other, put some spotlight on each other, and I put some spotlight on on part of my father's life.
Well, so much sort of about the movie is this idea of sort of encouraging people to take the spotlight, or discouraging people, and the impact that can have on people. And what do you think is sort of, have you been someone who has sort of shied away from the spotlight, or been encouraged to go out and do things? Like, how is sort of the message of this film lived out in your life?
Well, I don't know, I mean, I sort of broke the chain in a way, because my grandfather, I think he had the same problems with his father, and that my father had to my grandfather. And then I broke the chain in a way, because I didn't live together with my father. They got divorced when I was 3 years old. So I sort of broke the chain in a way. For me, it's very important that you become aware that that you have to get rid of this being perfect, but share the things to and be generous to the world, and give some part of you, and not try to be perfect, but just be yourself in a way. And that's an important message, I think.
In making it, like, sort of, I guess, as a filmmaker, does that carry over, like the sort of pursuit of sort of being perfect, or that sort of, obsession with perfection can get in the way of making a good film?
Oh, can you put that question again? Because
sorry. Can that be a challenge in making films, that that idea of, you think everything has to be perfect?
I don't know if I don't know if it's a problem, but I think it's a way of doing your best. I mean, there is a difference between perfect and doing your best, and the important thing is that you have to do your best, and you have to be happy about all your flaws, because if you show your flaws and make mistakes and stuff like that, you actually become a bigger person. I think there is a Japanese thing going on when you break a plate and you glue it with gold and then you put it together, and it's become more worth in a way. And that's an important message, I think, that you have to like sort of being happy about all your flaws and thing you are learning throughout the whole life, instead of being afraid of show all the good skills you have and all the talented material. And I think my father had that problem, that he actually had a lot of a lot of talent and a lot of skills, but he was afraid of showing it.
Yeah, we had something that some talent and skills that has been recognized is yours on this film, because it has made the Oscar shortlist for best short live action film. What does that sort of recognition from the Academy mean to you?
What it means to be shortlisted?
Yeah,
it means a lot, to be honest. I mean, Oscar is probably the world championship in movies and stuff like that. So it's that would be phenomenal if we get nominated, and to be shortlisted is such an honor, and I'm very happy and thrilled, and I am so happy about. I took the chance and the risk in doing a personal story, and I was working through my heart in a way. And then when you get a shortlist thing and this Oscar race, it means that, well, that at least the movie had made an impression that the first mission is accomplished in a way.
Yes. As sort of the filmmaker, what sort of impression has the film left on you? Like, what has stayed with you from that filmmaking process?
One very important thing is that, I've been an actor for like 30 years, and I have done a lot of TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But I found out through this movie that I got such a lot of energy and creativity working with things that is close to my heart. I know it's like you can simplify it in a way, and it sounds banal and very simple, but I really found out that I got a lot of energy and a lot of like inspiration, and I was so creative through that process. And I wanted to do more of that, and I want to go to search for stories that is close to my heart. That's a really big learning point.
Wow, that's really cool. Did you learn? Were there anything else that you sort of learned about yourself or learned about filmmaking through this process?
Well, yes. I mean, I knew that making film is a hell of a lot of decisions, and life is a hell of a lot of decisions, and it takes you have to have the courage to take the decisions, and I like it in a way, because it makes you actually move from one point to another point, and I think also that I'm so happy that my intuition about using my own son was very important for me, because of course nobody knows that the real music is coming out of the radio, that my father is actually played by my son, and so on. Nobody knows that, but for me, I think you could probably feel it in a way, or you can maybe hopefully sense that there is something in this material that at least had an energy that is emotional in a way. And that's why I also used the Beethoven classic music, because you can choose in between a billion of pieces of classic music, but my father loved Beethoven and he was crazy with him. He even got his password. I can say that because he's not alive anymore. But his password on the computer was B2, and so he was so happy about B2.
What do you think your father would think of the film?
Well, I think he would have been proud, but I think he would have said, no, don't do that. Don't make a fool out of yourself. Don't even think about it, because he said the same thing that his father said to him. And as I said before, I broke the chain. And I said to him, when he sometimes, when I come to him and came to him and told him about stuff I wanted to do, he said, no, don't do that, don't. And I was able to say, sorry for my language, but I was able to say, fuck you, I'm doing it anyway. And I think that's an important thing, that you have to follow your instinct. And yeah.
You talked about before, like making decisions in filmmaking. You just talked there about following your instinct. What was the sort of biggest choice that you made directing this film?
The biggest choice was to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think actually, to be honest, I mean, there is so many times, so many points through that process where you can say, well, no, I am not doing it anyway. No, I stop. I quit. Well, that's not a good idea. But I mean, it is really important that you keep having this stamina and this courage, and then at least I thought, well, if I just made this movie just for myself, to follow my idea all the way from the beginning to the end, that would be enough. And now we are shortlisted, so I'm happy that we probably also have made a universal story that you can, where you can recognize these sometimes father-son thing, but it's not only the father-son, it could also be the daughter and father. But I mean, we have to be concerned and be aware that we actually sometimes are hunting for credits during our lives, and we are, look at me, father, look at me. But the important thing is, when you're 12 years old and sitting on the beach finding music out of 2,000 stones, you find out that you're not doing it for anybody except for yourself. And I think sometimes we should do a lot more just for ourselves and our own will and happiness, instead of trying to do things for getting a well done credit for the thing we are doing. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like doing things more that are fulfilling for us, rather than about what others are going to think of us, or trying to vie for someone else's approval.
Yeah, because then you become free, instead of having this press on your shoulder. I mean, I literally have a feeling that my father had a person sitting on his shoulder the whole life, telling him that you're not good enough. No, don't do that. No. You have to be perfect. If you want to do this and this and this and that and that, you have to be perfect. But it's not very. I mean, then why don't you show the world all the things you can do instead? Yeah. And then you're not afraid to learn and try things and stuff. It's really cool. So exactly. If you're a little kid and you're crawling around the floor and you try to stand up and you fall down, think about it. If you said, well, I'm not going to do that anymore, that would be stupid. I mean, they keep doing and trying, and then it's a part of the process of the life.
Yeah. Well, Nicolaj, thanks so much for talking to us today. All the best of luck for the upcoming Oscars, and people watching this interview can go to goldderby.com to watch other interviews. Thank you so much, Nicolaj.
Thank you very much.